Musical Talk, the UK independent musical theatre podcast.
Hello, welcome to Musical Talk.
Hello, welcome to Musical Talk. I was going to do that bit.
I've been rudely interrupted by my co-host Dominic McChesney. Hi Dom, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Very well.
I want to talk very briefly. Well, Dom was going to ask me about Singing in the Rain, not the actual verb. I went to see the show, and Dom knows about old musicals and old films, so who better than to talk about Singing in the Rain than me and Dom? Well, Dom. Are you aware of this production, Dom? Because you probably weren't in the country when it came out, were you?
No, I wasn't. I was aware of it. I think it must have been showing when I came back to visit. But yes, I have been aware of it, but I've never seen it. Not the one with Adam Cooper.
This is the Jonathan Church production that played at the Chichester Festival Theatre a couple of 10 years ago, I think now, and I saw it back then with Adam Cooper, and it's made a lovely revival back to the Sadler's Wells Theatre, which is a bit of an odd venue. It's incredibly far away, I seem to remember. That was my... Yes. And ironically, it was raining that night. So,
was it? Okay.
Yes.
Now, just to go off on a weird musical talk tangent, but the last time I was at the Sadler's Wells, I saw a double bill. Well, it was two different nights, but I saw La Belle Helene, Offenbach's La Belle Helene, starring musical talk favourite Rosie Ash.
There we go. It all comes full circle in the end, doesn't it?
And the Gondoliers, a wonderful production of the Gondoliers, all set on a boater. Anyway, I digress.
Lovely theatre, not very comfortable. The leg room wasn't great. And the woman next to me was intent on singing along with the title song, which was...
I'm glad I wasn't there.
I'm glad you weren't there as well, Dom, because I think there would have been World War III broke out. But it shows the enjoyment of the show, and it shows that people are happy to be there. And that, along with Anything Goes, it's interesting how these shows, they're kind of bringing people out of a depression, really, aren't they?
I think so. I think all theatre and all entertainment is important at the moment, but I do believe what people want and need more than anything is absolute, just pure entertainment and fantasy and escapism. It's all very well having deep message-filled stuff, but I think people want something they can just sit down and that's familiar and they can just let wash over them.
Sing along to.
I mean, the exception to this, which I said before, was Breathe, the musical, which was very important, but it was perfect for the time it was. But Singing in the Rain and Anything Goes, people want big blockbuster. It's like Busby Berkeley during the Depression. You know, people want that sort of thing, I think.
And they certainly get it with this show. I'll be honest with you, I feel terrible for saying this on Musical Talk. I've never seen the film Singing in the Rain, and Dom has given me the death glare right now, but I've seen it now twice on stage, and I didn't know it's a jukebox musical, so there are some songs in the stage show that aren't in the film, and they apparently just crammed a lot of old songs from the Arthur Freed songs into the film in the 50s. So is that the first jukebox musical, Dom, to your knowledge?
No, I don't think it is. I can't tell you what was. I shall do some research and come back to you on that, but I don't think it's the first jukebox musical. So, but I've not seen this production. It'd be very interesting to see. I saw the production with Tommy Steele at the Palladium.
The famous Golden Shower, Singing in the Rain.
Say that. Allegedly.
Yes.
Allegedly. A lot of people talk about that. I don't know how true that was.
I hope it isn't true, and I hope it is true at the same time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and that was a revival then of the Tommy Steele one. I think the original, the first time it went out, it had Roy Castle in it, who...
It's very talented.
Extremely talented, and he also he played Cosmo, so he could actually do all the big tap dancing. By the time I saw it, it was this actor who was very capable singing and performing and acting wise, a chap who was in the bill, but he obviously couldn't do the tricks that Roy Castle had done in the production. Tommy Steele was very good, but I think at that point there was a bit when he kind of danced and he just smiled and all the audience kind of went, "Oh, Tommy," and I thought, "Oh, you're kind of winging it a bit on the smile." Anyway, besides the point, that was still good fun. I still enjoyed it, but I would like to see.
How did they do in those days? Did they do the projection of the film onto the? Did they have a screen that would come down? Do you remember how they did that? When are we talking here?
I believe this would have been the 90s, the very early 90s. So I think they had a screen and they just projected the film onto it. So from what I can remember, it's a long time ago. So, yeah.
Well, we had some... I mean, the thing that struck me when I saw this show 10 years ago and when I saw it recently at the Sadler's Wells was just how funny it is.
Yes.
It's such a lovely, silly story about the emergence of talkies, and you have such kind of silly lines as "they'll never catch on," the jazz singer's going to come and go, and it's kind of fiction meets real world with you got kind of the jazz singer being mentioned, but then you've got this fictional studio, momentous pictures or momental pictures or whatever they're called, I can't quite remember, and it's a kind of girl meets boy story, but what's really touching are the three friendships, the three friends in this film, the kind of the Cosmo character, the girl. I'm terrible with names. I really am bad with names. Dom is flicking through the program.
I am.
The three characters:
Kathy, Cosmo, and Don.
Yes. Good morning is a wonderful sequence.
I think they've got to really gel, and you've got to really believe that they are good friends. And also when Don falls in love with Kathy, and that whole end reveal as well. So I think, yes. And did you feel that? Did you get the ensemble feel?
Yeah, the beginning of the show is very slow. It kind of lifts up when you have, I think it's when Make 'Em Laugh or Be a Clown. Which one is it? Comes on.
I can't remember.
It's one of those. It's because you kind of the backstory of how Cosmo and Don met when they were both on the vaudeville act, and it really comes to life when the three of them start to do things together. There are a lot of songs in this show. As with anything goes. They're all kind of, we're gonna, I miss the man, so I'm gonna sing a song about that. I love the man, I'm gonna sing a song about that. They're not really book numbers, but my God, when this show has a production number, they really do deliver. And Singing in the Rain itself is glorious. If you are in the first couple of rows of the theatre, you will get wet, which is always quite a fun novelty, I think, when they're splashing water over the people that have paid for the good seats. Just really, really joyous. Nothing too intelligent going on, and I mean that in a polite way. It is a show where you just kind of want.
You understood it.
I know I understood it, and
Sorry.
No, you're absolutely correct. It's not making a point about society. It's not trying to give you a message or teach you anything. It's just saying.
How refreshing.
Yeah, and I was actually quite overwhelmed at the end, because it's just so, when they're all singing in the rain at the end, you've never really seen anything like it, sort of 20 people splashing around on stage with rain falling on top of them with choreographed umbrellas. It's just incredibly joyous, and such a simple thing that normally we hate rain. But it's such a lovely moment. He's finally got this girl that he's in love with, and he's just, absolutely expressing his joy through that wonderful moment. And
it's interesting you say that, because just going off on a slight tangent, I suddenly realised that Singing in the Rain is one of those songs that almost everybody knows. It's almost it's like Summer Nights,
Tomorrow
or something like that.
It's like Summer Nights in Greece.
Yes.
You only need hear 2 seconds of it.
Well, the thing is that even if you don't hear it, if it rains and someone's in a happy mood, then they will probably start singing
Yeah.
it. I mean, we used to do it at Chesington, dressed as frogmen with flippers, and
Right.
whenever it rained, we had to go out there and singing in the rain and do a dance routine.
At the moment, most of the day we'll probably be doing that because it's a bit damp here at the moment. But yes, an absolutely joyous show. The band were excellent. They got the biggest round of applause of the evening because they're upstage.
Are they on stage?
They're on stage, but
why don't they use orchestra pits anymore? Do you know why?
I don't know. I mean, it's all down to they do use them. For example, Anything Goes had an orchestra pit in the Barbican. I think it's all down to the design. It might be something to do with the drainage system that this show might require.
Yes, that can be a sense. Yes,
And but there's a lovely moment in the entr'acte and at the end of Act 2 where the whole back tab opens and just the orchestra are there, and it's such a nice moment to see that. And the show was just absolutely joyous. It was a bit slow to start, but once the gears get going and you're aware of what the goals of these characters are, it really is a joy to watch.
So, question: has that made you interested to see the film?
Yes, yes, because I enjoy the humour. I thought of you during it because the black and white sequences looked too good in this show. They were very 4K projected onto a screen. I thought
I notoriously hate 4K and whatever it's called.
HD.
Not AHD. But I just think it's awful. It's weird because it looks more real than real life.
Yeah. And this did have that kind of sheen to it, which
Okay.
wouldn't, that's a technical niggle. It's like when I saw Big at the Dominion Theatre and they had a POV of a roller coaster that wasn't around in the era on the screen.
Did you go on Nerd Boy?
I did. I said that is a roller coaster at Knott's Berry Farm, which only opened about 3 years ago. So please get your POVs
dear.
correct. But never mind. That's another story for another year.
The other thing I was going to ask, which is completely and utterly gone out of my head all of a sudden.
Well, whilst Dom has a crisis, I will say yes, I will. I will because I probably won't, but I would be interested in watching Singing in the Rain. Just to kind of compare what songs are in it, because I'd be interested if they do all the kind of, for example, there's a song that they sing in the film musical they're making, this kind of 18th century film musical. They have that in the stage show when they're talking about her dubbing over the kind of character who has a horrendous speaking voice.
I can't stand
I can't stand it.
So I'm just looking through the cast, the song list now,
Yeah.
and trying to remember which ones. The ones I remember from the film, and it has been a long time since I've seen the film, but I do remember "Fit as a Fiddle."
Yes, that's the vaudeville.
Lucky Star, Make 'Em Laugh, Moses Supposes,
Yeah.
Good Morning, Singing in the Rain.
I'm glad that one was in it.
Would you? Is that in the film?
I don't know. You're the one that's seen the film.
No, in the stage
Yes.
version. What I meant was, is it in the film?
I think so. Yes.
Because I've got a feeling that would be the ballet is that's
Yeah.
the gotta dance,
as mentioned in the producers, Gotta Sing, which they parody.
gotta sing.
That whole sequence is just amazing, and it really kind of, because the set has been very grey up until then, with bits of colour, but then suddenly the whole thing comes to glorious Technicolor, you could say, because it's predicting the future, and it's almost modernist in its presentation, kind of so ahead of its time. If we're to believe this is set in kind of the 20s or 30s, to have this kind of musically, it goes places that are very, very different compared to the rest of the score. So that whole sequence is just astonishing, and it did bring the house down. But yeah, such a joyous show. I'm glad that we have this, and I'm glad we have Anything Goes, and I'm glad we have Hairspray. It's kind of all these kind of wonderful
Just feel good.
feel good shows. And the
Things.
same thing happened after 9/11 as well. That's when Hairspray opened, and Little Shop of Horrors opened after 9/11. You had this kind of revival of the musical comedy.
Just to clarify, Little Shop of Horrors, the revival opened.
Yes,
after, yes,
not
Same.
the original Little Shop of
I
Horrors.
saw the original Little Shop of Horrors, as did I'm sure many of our listeners.
Yes, with Oh, who did it here? I know Sue Pollard did the tour.
Ellen Green. I saw Sue Pollard. She was excellent. She was incredible as Audrey in the tour. I thought she was really wonderful.
And then the guy that played Seymour, when it came back to the Mania Chocolate Factory production, whenever that was 10 years ago, he played Mushnik. So he kind of had this nice he became the father, you could say.
Ah, yes.
But
well, I am glad that you enjoyed Singing in the Rain. I've never seen Adam Cooper live, and I've heard he is a talent. And he is a talent, obviously.
Not the greatest singer or actor, but I don't think that's what the role's about. It's about being that, but especially for the ballet sequence. You know, you need someone who is.
You need someone with that chops to because you're stepping into Gene Kelly's shoes. So I felt that however wonderful Tommy Steele was, he wasn't. Tommy Steele. Because Tommy Steele and Roy Castle didn't play the same role; they were in it together. So, but Tommy Steele was very good, but he wasn't really he wasn't at the Gene Kelly standard.
But who is?
Well, exactly. So, hopefully Adam Cooper is.
Yeah.
I remember what I was going to say was the film. Notoriously, Debbie Reynolds had a very, very hard time working with Gene Kelly. He was quite demanding on her. And
did he choreograph it as well?
Yes, I believe he did. So,
whilst being ill.
Well, yes. I mean, I think, but he certainly put Debbie Reynolds through.
And that shows how great the two of them were. If they didn't like each other off set, they had wonderful chemistry on set.
Yes, I don't know the history of whether they probably. I think it was a case that she was just really starting out, so she had to kind of almost prove herself. And I think I don't know what happened afterwards, but I think she probably commanded a certain respect afterwards with Gene Kelly. But he was a tough taskmaster by all accounts, and very demanding. But then you watch him in any of his films, and you see the standard of the dancers with him. That's been terrifying.
What's the one that they parodied in Family Guy when he danced with Stewie? Was it Mickey Mouse he was dancing with in a film as dressed as a sailor?
Tom and Jerry.
Okay, yeah.
That was, I want to say Anchors Away, but
you might be right.
It is. I can't think off the top of my head. But yes, he did Tom and Jerry appeared in several. They played with him, and then they also appeared with Esther Williams in Slippery When Wet, I think.
Don't know that one.
I could be wrong.
You're probably not wrong. It's probably me that's making everything up as always. But I mean, would you see Singing in the Rain?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would absolutely. So I would like to see it, and Anything Goes. Actually, I've never seen Anything Goes.
I hadn't either, so that's why
I'm quite interested to watch it. And I've listened to the episode that Foss did where he looked at the different versions, but I've never even seen the film, which is weird.
Well, I do suggest both of them because they are that kind of. It's nice that you've got, as I said, these kind of two shows that are kind of up against each other to kind of be the kind of, we are the old-fashioned Broadway golden revival. And we had a lovely prom last night on television, which I'll briefly mention because it had a bit of, had some of Anything Goes in it. It had not Singing in the Rain, but it had My Fair Lady. It had a lot of Rodgers and Hammerstein, I think 7 separate Rodgers and Hammerstein songs. And we're going to have actually Jonathan on and his friend Stephen, who are going to see South Pacific soon at the Chichester again. Chichester, bring it back to them to talk about that. And just lots of lovely kind of... The West End is really nice at the moment because you got kind of these filler shows happening before the main shows
they're
open.
putting on things that are familiar to bring back people, which is very important. And a lot of the regional theatres are putting on familiar shows. I know that the musical review Tomfoolery is about to go on in Southwold, for those of you who are Tom Lehrer fans. So if you're anywhere near Southwold, you can get to see Tomfoolery.
Once you've finished poisoning pigeons in the park.
Yes,
can go
indeed,
and
yes. There's some very good plays going on. Let me think what could be going on. Oh, yes, you could see maybe Agatha Christie's Spider's Web, which is going off on tour.
Yes.
It's going to be at Ilfracombe. I don't know when this podcast is going out.
What Dom is saying is he's in a production of Spider's Web.
What I'm saying is that I'm in a tour of Spider's Web, which is going to Ilfracombe, Peterborough, Sidmouth, and excuse me, I haven't finished. Okay. Chesterfield. I just want to plug my own show here.
But how does it feel to be performing after all this?
Do you know, it's wonderful. It's really fantastic. I've already done one play. I did a little whodunit down in Sidmouth Rep, and it's just amazing. I had a friend write a little a thing on a WhatsApp group, and it was all about just that moment of really savouring that first applause that you hear after you've done your first performance, and to really take the bow and really enjoy it. And I think that's true. So for all you performers out there, that just if you're getting the chance to get back on stage, just really savor that moment. And everyone's hungry. I mean, the casts that I've worked with, the couple of casts I've worked with live, the audience have been just so appreciative, just absolutely loving it. And we're doing, Sidmouth Rep is doing comedies and whodunits, and that's what's kind of really wanted in the provinces. It's nice to be doing an Agatha Christie, because they always do well, and this is a comedy as well. So, but it's quite it's a little bit surreal, because in some ways you feel that no time has passed and a lot of time has passed, but you just have to just consciously slip in. I'm really hoping with a lot of shows in London as well that, and this sounds a bit of a gripe, but one of the biggest problems I always have with the West End is I often see actors and performers messing around on stage in the chorus, and if they've been in a show a long time. And I'm really hoping, that actors will appreciate and get back on stage, and there will be less obvious past the past the button or something on stage. So I'm hoping that people will just really reset their thoughts about their career and just really appreciate
and their energy levels and their...
yes. I think there was quite a few shows that I felt that there was people in them that were just maybe been in them too long, just doing a bit automatic.
It's interesting when I know there's a Les Mis that I think Cameron randomly turned up to, and he said, "You're all lazy, I'm closing the show for a week and you're going to go back into rehearsals," which is great. That shows how...
Wow. Great. That's good to have that power.
How dedicated he is to, to almost kind of give a school headmaster telling off, really.
Well, I mean, I don't know that story. That's the first time I've heard it. A lot of shows do have production directors whose job is to keep shows from not being like that. I can't imagine somebody letting it slip, but then Cameron does have exacting standards. Yeah. So we're quite rightly too. But regardless of what's happened over the last year and what's happening with certain shows, because I know that it's a very polarizing subject, and there's a lot of heated emotions about a lot of shows. But I do think this is a great opportunity for us to come back sparkling, really. Yeah. So from big shows to tiny shows. And
also it's for the actors to do that as well, but also the audiences to go and see things you wouldn't normally see. There are more shows now in London than just Phantom and Les Mis and Wicked. There are, not that we're decrying those shows, but there are come and see the smaller shows that really, really need audiences.
Yes, well, even the big shows need audiences. Just come and see something, whether it's you going back to Wicked for your 60th time or whatever, just go and see things.
Like Dom will.
When you feel right. It's a personal choice. Some people have no problem with it. Some people are being more hesitant. I think it's very important to see things, and it's still gonna take a while, but it's amazing to see what's happened.
Yeah, getting there, and so much exciting stuff coming up. Dom, we'll have you on again soon. Good luck with the tour.
Thank you very much.
If you're fans of Dom, do go and see Dom, but no stage dooring, please. Because
no, we can't meet the audience afterwards. So that's Ilfracombe next week, and then Sidmouth for 2 weeks. Ilfracombe, Peterborough, Sidmouth, and then Chesterfield in late September.
I'm going to be a bastard and put this episode out once they've all closed. But thank you very much, Dom. Thank you for talking about Singing in the Rain. Singing in the Rain is... I won't be a bastard, actually, because then you can't go and see Singing in the Rain, because it's only on until the 4th of September, I believe. So do go and check it out.
Saya Manani Alam Dalam Ujan.
Gesundheit.
No, that means singing in the rain in Malay.
Okay.
I used to sing
if
it.
Any Malay listeners out there...
Malay. I mean, it's bad. That's kind of Malay in my speak. Sorry, I'm going to go now. Bye.
Sadler's Wells, home of Singing in the Rain until September the 4th. I think that's correct. Do go and see it. See everything. See anything. Thank you very much, Dom. We'll have you on again soon. And
Saya Manani Dalam Ujan.
All the best.
Saya Manani Dalam Ujan.
For more information about Musical Talk, please visit our website at musicaltalk.co.uk. You can email us at feedback@musicaltalk.co.uk, listen to past episodes on iTunes and YouTube, and follow our social media channels on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.